Today, I'm blessed to be here with my very, very good friend, Dre Marshall. He is a creative coach, a strategist, and author of The Creator's Guide to Getting Started. Dre spent over 2 decades mentoring creators at every level, from hobbyists trying to find their voice to Grammy and Academy Award winners at the top of their game. He's also the founder of Mansa Project Solutions and the author of Whiskey for the Soul. Dre, what's good with you,
Yo,
fam? How you doing,
what's
man?
good?
Good deal, man. You got a new book, The Creator's Guide to Getting Started, man. Tell me a little bit about it, man.
Absolutely. So, this book was kind of birthed out of coaching and consulting. I myself being coached as well while I was going through my classes and going through my cohort to become a certified coach and trainer. And also just in a time when, working with a lot of different artists, just hearing their questions and, talking to my friends and just different, so many people who have great ideas, great thoughts, and they run right past it. They never take the step from taking it from a concept to making it something tangible, whether it's a service or a product or a process. And so I wrote this book for every single one of those people, so that they could have a guide and something to hold in their hands if that would help, to get them from out of their mind, and to cultivate that into something real and something tangible, either that they can present, that they can produce, that they can sell, that they can build. And so that's where this book came from entirely, man. Like that's what the Creator's Guide to Getting Started is all about.
No doubt,
I'm gonna
no
hit the
doubt.
light.
Now,
My bad.
no, you good.
These lights on. There we go. Now we live, bro. My
Now we
bad.
in the game. Now we cooking.
Now we cooking with the grease, bro.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Dre Marshall. So tell me this, man. Was there a specific book similar to this book that you wrote that inspired you early on?
um, I can't say that there's any books that I've ever read like this one, but I'm
Yeah.
sure that there are many books that cover some of the same things and some of the same fields. I kind of went with four different concepts or four different thoughts or theories, in regards to not why people don't get things done, but maybe four methods that would ease people into doing what they think, what they feel, or what they dream. So I haven't really read many, maybe every instruction manual I've ever read
Okay.
has been similar. But the first thing I wanted to do was tackle theories, and tackle just right out the gate, like, yo, here's four methods, right?
Yeah.
Tarzan method, swinging back and forth between your goals and dreams and your stability, whether that's your job, whether that's a career, but you don't have to completely give that up. You can navigate back and forth between that and your passion. Then I got
Tarzan
into a
method. I like that.
delegate method, which is like, yo, Fiverr, Upwork, your friends, family, consulting services, but just delegating the things that you're not good at or
Mhm.
that you don't have time to do. The third concept was the hobbyist method. Some people just do this for the love. Like, I'm at a point in my life where I only make music because I love it. And
Word.
only when I want to. If I don't feel like working on something, I don't have to. I'm not obligated to. And it doesn't pay me or break me to not do something, let's say. So I'm a hobbyist because I love making music. I have all the things to make music, but it's a hobby of mine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not my career anymore. When it was my career, it was 100% full time. And then the last one is the all-in method or the cold turkey method, which is, hey, somebody gonna watch this and they gonna quit their job today. They gonna decide today and quit tomorrow and jump right into whatever they've been passionate or dreaming about. So that's kind of what it was for me. Those were the four concepts and methods, that I kind of dove into. And then I jumped into, different things like your foundation or what should be your foundation. What should be your foundation? I jumped into social media. I jumped into, a little bit of management. I jumped into music business. For those, who don't know, that's heavy. My background is music business. So I jumped into that as well. And, so the whole book was like, yo, you're a creative not just if you make something that's entertainment wise, right?
Right.
You're a creative if you build a business. You're creative if you could pull something out of the sky and out of the air and make it something real, right? A
Right.
lawyer, when he's doing contracts, that's creativity. You know what I mean? If you ask
Mhm.
Jack Nicholson's lawyer, he got residuals from and royalties from all of the Batmans, and he was only the Joker in one of them. That's a
Wow.
creative deal. That's what they would even call it, right? A creative deal. Or Michael Jordan getting 5% from every piece of Jordan branded apparel. That's a creative deal that somebody came up with. So it's not just creativity and like drawing, making music, painting, singing, and things like that, but also being you want to make cookies or you want to open a crumble or, you want to open a vet office. Those are creative ideas that you have to think about, and so this book is speaking to not just creatives in the sense of like entertainment arts or but also creatives in the sense of entrepreneurship, in the sense of business, in the sense of community and nonprofits.
No doubt. No doubt, man. So what was the moment that you realized that creators needed help getting started, getting going, understanding what you just spoke on about the ability to create something out of thin air?
To be honest, I've known it since I was about 16 years old, maybe 15. If you look at anybody that's dope creatively, they got somebody around them that does all the things they don't want to do.
Mm,
They got the homie who is good on the mixing, but they can't mix or they can't produce or they don't know how to book shows. They just good at what they do.
right.
And I know a lot of people like that. Whereas myself, I seem to be more versatile and skilled at a plethora of things. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
I never really mastered anything but connecting dots and building relationship. Whereas to some people, they mastered the craft that was in their hand or the talent, right?
mm, mm,
Um, but even that sometimes, like again, it makes me a creative to do business because on a business scale or on a business scope, if you're doing business and you're connecting people, you have to think creatively. It's like my homegirl might sit down and be like, "Oh, so and so should date so and so," and she thinks about all the things. That's really creative to put these people's lives together in your mind.
yeah,
Sometimes with
yeah,
arts and with different things like that. For me, it was music. Like, oh, this is my homie. He writes really cool songs. This my other homie. He make really dope beats. Yo, y'all should work together. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I should get paid for it, but y'all should work together.
Right, right, right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like, yo, but so for me, that was the main thing. Was like my whole life, I've been in a position where I've been around highly super duper talented people.
Right.
And working with those super duper talented people, it wasn't always my interest to be let's say an artist like them. At one
Uh-huh.
time it was, but I've always loved putting things together, putting processes together and kind of like dream cultivating. You know what I mean? Like I tell some people I'm a dream cultivator. You know what I mean? I like it until I got to be responsible for it not working.
Right, right.
you know?
No doubt. No doubt. Well, shoot, man, it's interesting that you say that, man, because you've worked with some really, really big names. Like you said, you worked with a lot of talented people across a bunch of different industries. What did what did working with people teach you about creative success?
Um, man, it taught me a lot, man. It really taught me a lot. It taught me that it's short lived for sure.
Mm,
Um, the ambition to succeed is usually most people lose it once they feel like they've achieved a certain degree of success, whatever that is, because it's such a success is so vast and subjective,
Right.
you know. So it taught me that as a person such as myself or as a creative, you kind of have to have so many different irons in the fire, which is hard to manage, right?
Mm-hmm.
It taught me that there is no one way to do anything. Because what you think works, it doesn't necessarily work for everyone, right? Someone
Mm-hmm.
could tell you something and you could do what they tell you, and it didn't work for you because honestly, it didn't work for them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was way more intricate than how they made it seem, you know? And more importantly, the biggest thing that I would say is it told me that everybody that's successful, everyone that succeeds, everyone that comes from nothing to something, it takes community. I don't really, and to be honest about it, I don't know. Like, I hear the term self made, but I don't think I know anyone that's self made. I think
Mm.
everyone I know that's successful plugged into something that was already succeeding. They
Right.
tapped into a machine. And I think that, you know, it's hard because when you say that, people's egos, like, they flare up and the pride comes out and the egos come out. But you got to be honest, most people that are successful that you know, they're not successful because they sat home, they thought about it, they planned it, they invested in it, they implemented it, they built it, they continued to cultivate it, and then they succeeded. Most people's story is they figured out how to do something cool or good, and they tapped into something or someone that was already succeeding, and that allowed them to achieve success, even
Yeah.
with money. That's usually how it happens, right? You
Yeah.
invest with the wealthy investor, more than likely you keep investing with them, you're gonna get wealthy. Now they might be investing 10,000 and you might be investing 100. But if they keep turning over profits and their ROI is good, then you're gonna invest hundreds. Eventually you'll be investing thousands too if you keep following that system, but they're tapping into something. And so what I think I learned the most was that success comes from connection. It does not come from an island or from an isolated person or thing that you just choose to invest in, you know?
Word. Word. That's deep. Dre coming with the gems.
Yo, it's like a lot of failure teaches, man, it teaches a lot,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
I feel you, man. So okay. So if somebody was getting started today, um, what's the first thing that they should do that they would get from reading your book?
Um, if they were starting today and they read my book, the first thing that they would do is probably kind of finite a few different things that they actually want to do.
So
Um,
clear focus goals.
yeah, because so right, like a lot of people, like let's talk about music, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people make music, but they don't like the music they make.
Mm.
But if it's paying the bills, you still gonna do it 9 out of 10 times. That's not
Right.
necessarily the goal. That's still a job to me. The
Right.
goal is to find out what you really love or what you really want to do and to figure out how to do that. So I think the first thing that you would do is kind of sketch down a few ideas and
Mm-hmm.
kind of see what feels good. And then you would start to schedule time to invest into yourself and into those ideas. That would be the absolute first step. Like, you might want to sing and you can't sing. It doesn't mean that you're a bad singer forever. It might mean that you need voice lessons.
Mm.
And so your first step is not going to be, okay, I decide I want to sing. I'm going to go sing songs. It might be, you know what? I decide I want to sing. Today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to look up vocal coaches in my area. I'm going to look up a few vocal coaches. And
Yeah.
so that's part of what my book does. It's really practical. It's really not about success overnight. You know what I mean? Because I don't believe in an overnight success. And if they were successful overnight, There were many, many, many nights before where there was no success, where it was filled with failure, where it was filled with trying, where it was filled with almost, where it was filled with maybe next time, where it was filled with I don't want to and I don't feel like it. So I think that my book helps you to push past those nuances of like, he's good because of this, or I can't do it because I gotta work. The first thing it's gonna do is help you hone in and find a strategy and an idea or a way to at least get productive in what it is that you want to create.
No doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt. That's what's up. So you tackled the four methods: the Tarzan method, the delegate method, the hobbyist method, and the all-in method.
Yep.
Which method, in your opinion and in your daily activity, is the most powerful method for you?
All of them.
All four of them.
All four of them.
So you
I
use
think
all
that
four of them
all
in
four
your
of them. You know
every
why?
day?
The common thread between all of these methods is swinging.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about like Tarzan, you saw Tarzan, he would swing and he would like yank the vine and see if it was firm enough, and then he would swing back,
Right.
right? So sometimes you're gonna swing and you're gonna fall. Sometimes you're gonna swing and feel that that's not good, and you gotta swing back to the 9 to 5. And then sometimes you're gonna swing and grab a hold of the entrepreneur life, and you just gonna keep swinging from there. So I think at different times for me to effectively be successful in life, I use all of these methods. Perfect example, I wrote this book, but I had to find someone to design it, and I had to find someone to edit it, and another person to typeset it for me. You
Mm.
see what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, I had to use my iPhone to write a lot of voice memos, and I had to use Chat GPT to do research on certain theories and things that I thought. Timelines and dates. There's people and stories in here that I had to look up those stories. I needed subjects and people to write about at certain points.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then sometimes I didn't want to write and I pushed myself to write, but at other times it just flowed. And then there were days where I said, you know what? I'm not doing nothing but writing today. It don't even matter if I gotta sit and stare at the ceiling for hours. I'm not doing nothing but writing. And so I use all of these methods in different ways at different times. And I think anyone that's successful, will tell you different ways that they did it. Like I laugh at like Bill Withers. Bill Withers was in his 30s. He just quit his job and became an artist. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what that took. I know he was former military, but he just was like, forget it. But then I know that Kurt Warner, Cat won a Super Bowl, and the year before he was working at the supermarket. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and then we know people that they sleep on couches professionally, and they do that for years and years until they make it. Tyler Perry told stories about being homeless and sleeping in his car while he was trying to get these plays together. Um,
Mm.
I think that's a cold turkey or an all in method.
Mm.
So,
Okay. Okay.
but I wrote a story on my homegirl who had an idea for making earrings, and she started to get some sales, but she had a full time job. She wasn't trying to let go of her benefits. So
Right.
while she was at work full time, she hired someone to work her business part time, like a real employee, and she
Right.
paid them off of her money from work until the
Wow.
business was able to sustain her. Right, the girl that she got to work for her, the business first sustained her part time before homie even went full time.
Mm.
And so there's all of these different concepts and ideas and methods we use every day. The Tarzan method, though, being like the core method, being able to swing back and forth. Because a lot of times you might grab a branch, it feels stable, and when you go to swing, boom, you hit the ground. So
Right.
you got to find another vine and climb up. And then you got to swing back and forth and build momentum and then try to grab again and yank and see. And so it's really all of those methods I use. And I think that everyone uses every single one of those methods to be successful.
I like that. I like that. That's a lot. That's a lot to weigh, or that's a crazy thing to balance. So how does somebody balance between being motivated to start and taking actionable steps? How does somebody balance being able to dream big and creatively and do something without having all of the resources that they need?
You sacrifice something. You got to give up something to get something.
Okay.
So for instance, you may say, I don't have time to work out. I don't
Yeah.
have time to go to the gym. Maybe you don't have time, or maybe you could not watch Netflix for an hour. Or maybe that hour you about to watch on Netflix, you could watch while you're on the bike or on the treadmill at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
There's different ways to do it. And that's the beauty of this book is we try to go through different concepts to figure out what works the best for us, what works the best for you, what works the best for me. So I think that, and it's funny, man, I don't like motivation
Okay.
because if you got to be motivated to do things, I don't know how serious you are about them. If you always got to have the right vibe, or you always got to have the right mood, or you always got to have the right energy, if you
Yeah.
need the candles and the incense and all that to be able to create, I don't know how creative you actually are.
Dang.
And eventually, to be considered a professional, if that's what you desire, then you're gonna have to be able to not have a perfect world setting to do it. Most successful people have learned how to do things in spite of how they felt, in spite of the resources. You know, you see some producers and they make the best music with the most basic equipment or the cheapest equipment they could find.
Yeah.
Then they get in these $1 million rooms and they can't make a beat to save their life because there's too many options.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that sometimes what we consider motivation is often excuses or reasons why we don't pursue it. If you can only make one shirt. After you make one, make two. After you make two, sell one and keep the other. Like it's not really about the motivation to do it more than it is about the mindset and the commitment to yourself to follow through and to pursue that opportunity.
Word. Word.
Yeah,
What
you
up?
know, like
That's what up.
yeah,
It's so there's a level of responsibility that the creator has to take in, doing what has to be done and acting past dreaming clearly, right?
absolutely, absolutely,
No doubt. No doubt, man. It's
absolutely.
tough for creatives, man.
It
That's a
is,
tough
man,
thing,
because
man.
I mean, you're you're taking your basic math, right? They give us they give us we get four because they tell us it's two plus two, but they give us two, right?
Mm-hmm.
They give you when you make words, they give you letters. But a lot of the ideas in your mind, there's nothing you're pulling from nowhere. You're pulling out of it doesn't exist in your mind, or you don't know someone else that does it. There's not always an example or someone to give you a crash course or give you the guide or give you the game. And so it's literally like when God created everything, there was nothing before that. And so when you're creating, like you're doing the same that God did. You're pulling from nothing and from nowhere. And so the time and the effort and the energy to be misunderstood is hard. For you to see what no one else sees is hard. For
Yeah.
people not to get you is super hard. But that's what makes a creator so dope is because it's only crazy till it's done. And so it's like they always say, like, man, when you doing it, it's crickets.
But after you do it and people see it start to work, then everybody's like, yeah, that's my man. Yeah, I remember when that happened. Yeah, I remember when you was doing it in the garage. And it's like, so it is hard because you got to be your own boss, your own employee, your own cheerleader,
Yeah.
sometimes your own mentor and your own coach, and then you have to be your enthusiast, or
Mm.
your motivator, right? You got to be all of those things all the time while you're doing something. And all of the time that you're doing that, usually there's someone saying there's a safer way. Maybe you should just go work over here. Maybe it's not your time. You kind of good, but you're not as good as Kanye. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's so much that goes into creating and to being a creator, right? When it's like not only that, but you're a creation.
Uh,
So for you to take a step outside of yourself from being a creation and that being what you know to being a creator is like, how do I do that? But that can no longer be an excuse. That's why we wrote this book. That's why or I'm saying we, but that's why I wrote this book. Because there's no other way. And even when I say we, I'm thinking about like my wife, you know what I mean? Like a lot of these thoughts and ideas was conversations with her, you know,
mm.
conversations with my clients, having talks with my family who are trying and they want to do things. And one of my cousins always says, man, I'm so tired of making money for other people. Like, I need to make money for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, why don't you get started? Well, man, the kids and the family, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But at some point, if you want to, you're going to have to get out of yourself and get past your own fears and your own limitations, and you're going to have to try. That's the only way. You might fail, but I don't know why people, I heard Candace Owens say, I don't know why people talk down on failure so much. Like, you might fail this time, but you might succeed the next time. And
Mm.
without failure, there's a lot that you don't know. There's a lot that you don't learn, and so you need that to buffer you and to motivate you and then to encourage you and to smarten you up.
Facts.
So,
Facts, man.
yes, sir.
So if you could boil the book down to one sentence, what would you say?
This is the creator's guide to getting started.
Facts.
That's what I
Facts.
would say, man. Like,
Hey man, straight to
this
the
is the
point. That's
creator's
Dre
guide to
Marshall.
getting started.
Yeah, man. No beating
Yeah.
around it, man. I feel that, man. So tell me what. How is I want to talk a little bit about how your clients have uh been affected by, some of these methods. How have they told you that it's worked out in their careers?
Well, I'll tell you one common theme. A lot of creators and a lot of creatives. We were taught like if you want to do something or you want to be good at something, you got to just go 100% all in.
Mm.
That's all you could do. Wake up, do that, eat, drink, sleep, that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I tell my son.
right? And it's like,
Trauma dumping.
yeah, just that's all you could do. But what I've learned over the years and over time is that that's not necessarily the case.
Mm.
Um, you have people that they do one thing or they do multiple things. And a lot of times the person who does one thing, they struggle. They
Mm.
struggle, bruh. They struggle hard on that one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go as famous or as unsuccessful or as high successful as you want, but when you do one thing, oftentimes you struggle. When you do multiple things, right? Even like you want to be a millionaire, you need, they say, seven multiple streams of income,
Mm-hmm.
right? How many people got wealthy, dumb wealthy off of one stream? I don't know many, if any.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that what I saw was a lot of creatives like get money from going to take jobs or going to use their other talents to generate income to invest into their passion, whether that's into their marketing, whether that's so they could shoot a video, whether that's so they could print their book. But I've seen a lot of the concepts of now saying, don't just do one thing unless you got the security to do just that one thing.
Yeah.
If you don't have the security to do that one thing, then the stress of trying to live is going to stifle the little bit of creativity that you do have.
Dang.
So
Real.
if you want to be Kanye, man, again, I love Kanye. I love, his music. I love what he does. Well, he was before he was an artist, and even since he's been an artist, he's been producing for other people.
Mm-hmm.
You got people like Chris Brown, and they write for other people. While Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest in basketball, he was building a tech company.
Right. Right.
Um, you
Movies and
know,
all that.
uh, Michael Jordan transitioned into apparel. I don't know if that was always his thing. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so again, when you start to look at the greats, you realize that they weren't just doing one thing. They were doing multiple things. They were doing several things. They were leveraging all of their skills because you don't know what's gonna pop off. And
Yeah.
granted, you do
That's
need
good.
one thing to be the catalyst for everything else, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also need resource. And if you don't have resource, you got to go out and get resource in order to sustain yourself, to sustain your family, and to also invest into breathe life into your ideas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I've watched a lot of creatives that I work with begin to just leverage their other skills and build sustainable incomes for themselves so that they can continue to try and try and try and try, because that's what it ends up being. If it doesn't work, doesn't mean you quit and you just say, well, I'm going to go ahead and go work at the bank. Nah, keep the bank job. You know what I'm saying? If the bank job is giving you money and you can only perform on the weekends, then that's Tarzan method. Because eventually that bank job is maybe 5 days a week, but you might have to swing it down to 3 days a week. And you
Mm-hmm.
might swing it from full time to part time and swing the other part time into your career. And then maybe you swing full time into your career and you swing into your creative idea for however long, and then you swing that into another creative idea, and you swing that into an investment, and you swing that into real estate development, and then you swing that into consulting. And so it's like that's the main thing that I've been talking with my clients about. Because a few years ago, I said to my wife, who's also an artist, I said, how do we make music for free and give it away? Because that's why we weren't making music to be rich off of music. We were making music because we had a message and we wanted everyone to get our message. And
Mm.
someone said, well, you could get paid for that. So the message changed too, and the music changed. So how do you get back to like the essence of why you do what you do? And in the Black community, we tend to try to monetize. If you go to somebody's house and they cook something really good, you like, man, you should open a restaurant. Like we don't have to make everything that we love a business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but that's the way we've been
Off rip.
conditioned to think that life is, and it's like that's not necessarily life. You should be able to do things that you love and do things that sustain you as well. A lot of times when you look to what you love for it to sustain you, it changes the relationship with it. It almost becomes now an unconditional thing that I really love to like a transactional thing. So it's like, I love listening to music. I love it. I listen to it all the time. So I'm going to make music. But then when you start making music, you stop listening to music, and then you wonder why you don't love music no more. Well,
Mm.
because you're not doing what you love. You're doing what you have to do now. And so
Dang.
now that it's a chore, now that it pays you, you don't even like the song if it don't chart. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're not going to stand behind that because it didn't do what somebody else's metrics said.
Wow.
that's not why we do what we do over here. You feel me? Like I got tired of that type of rat race and that type of mentality. I
Hmm.
wanted to write what I loved. I wanted to hear what I loved, whether it's just for me or just for who likes or loves me. But instead of saying like, how the music business is, like when you're in the music business and you're writing music and you're writing for other people, they never really want your creative idea. They want your creative idea that's as close to whatever's the most important song at that moment.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I know amazing, prolific songwriters who, when Sexy Red dropped, their A&Rs were coming in saying, yo, you got something like, listen to this Sexy Red. I want something like this. That's not even good. And I watch dudes rack their brain and make ideas like that for someone to say, yeah, that's not good enough. So now you got to blow to your ego like, man, I can't even make music like that. Like the ratchet song I made ain't ratchet enough, or it's not clever enough to be on the radio. So now you question yourself and you're full of doubt. But I mean, why were you trying to make that anyway? You feel what
Uh,
I'm saying? Like it's okay to pass. Nah, I don't want to do that one. And so I think that again, when you make you make music that you don't love and it makes you money, you have an internal conflict that starts to happen. When
wow.
I want you to write a piece about something that you're completely against, but you got to be for it.
Yeah.
That's a
I've had to
conflict.
do that. I've had to do that. It was rough.
It's hard. You could
Yeah.
probably do it because you're good at it. You're good at writing.
Yeah.
But at some point, there does become a conflict um with the content. I heard my boy was talking about like Quincy Jones, and he was like, man, Quincy Jones said art, like music ain't art. My art is on the walls. You know what I mean? And I'm like, sure,
Wow.
bro, but that's why you phased out like super fast because if you're just making music to be famous, then
Hmm.
what happened to the message? Like our music used to be about the community and the culture
Yeah.
for orators.
Facts.
And that's where the music came from. So when the music just start coming about your emotions and your subliminals to this guy, or just about you writing songs about making money and you don't have money. Like you don't have money because you writing songs about not about having money, and that's unbelievable to everyone that knows you.
Mhm.
You feel me? Like, so the idea is like, nah, man, get back to what you love. Get back to the heart of you of why you do what you do. And not so much to be stuck on doing it for recognition or for accolades. You know.
Word.
So that's
That's
in the
what's
book
up.
too. That's in the chapter called The Foundation.
The foundation.
Yeah.
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 Keeping the main thing, man.
Man. Man. So tell me this: if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Um, get all the money, get all the things that you're doing, but spread it out.
Well, let me rephrase that question. My bad. And
Okay,
that's a good
yeah.
answer. I appreciate the answer. But as it pertains to the creator's guide to success, I mean the creator's guide to getting started, you as a creative, what would you
Mhm.
give one piece of advice to your younger self?
Get all the money, get all the success, and don't keep it in one basket. Spread it around, but spread it differently. Like I think what I would have did was I would have been more of I would have been more of an investor. I would have built a lot slower.
Mm,
Um, One of the things that I felt at creatively was like I got very top heavy with building things and building teams. So the overhead was always or the outcome was always bigger than the income.
right.
And I think that that slow burn sometimes kind of fuses us out because we have these insatiable desires to be uber successful overnight. You know what I mean? And super successful the next day or the next moment. And I think I would have told my younger self um to not give up so easy, to not quit so easy. Like a lot of times you are or were almost right there.
Mm. Like
And
that picture with
because
the
you
guy with the
quit on
pickaxe.
yourself, you left that vacancy and you left that door open and somebody else stepped in. I would also tell me to stop paying attention to other people and other things, man. No matter how hard that is, stay focused on your dream, your goal, and your ambition. That doesn't mean don't connect with other people, but make sure that your dreams connect as well. Make sure that your goals connect as well because you are like right there. And a lot of times, hindsight is 2020. So when you look back, you like, man, I was here, I was there, I did this. Like, I sometimes look at life and I'm like, I've done everything I've dreamt of doing. So it's time to dream more and to dream bigger. And
Right.
I've been with the superstars. I've been in the private jets. I've been in the mansions. The only thing is they haven't been mine. And
Mm.
maybe that's because the dream was to just be in them or to be around them.
Wow.
And so I think that I would have dreamed differently. I would have waited to have children. I would have waited to get married and be in relationships. Like I would have focused on succeeding at life before I focused on just building life with other people, thinking that that was like a sign of success. But again, that's what I was taught, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
taught like, yo, you young, you ambitious, you can't be out here. You got to get a wife because of this and that, and you got to do this and that. And I think that those things caused me a bit of failure because I couldn't really go as hard as I wanted to. You
Mm.
know, um, and I think that now I'm in my 40s now. I enjoy being married. I love my family. I love it so much, but it was really hard in my 20s to try to be a family man like the men that were in their 40s and 50s telling me that that's what I should do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now I think I push that a lot, man. I saw Jay-Z signed an artist recently, Rock Nation signed an artist, and there's a clause like you can't have a boyfriend or get married for like 5 years or something like that.
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
oh, that's clever. Because if you do that, you're not gonna be focused on this right here. And right now, this need to be your boyfriend. This need to
Right.
be who
Right.
you in love with. You know what I'm saying? Like
You got
this
a small window.
idea. So I think that's what I would have told myself, man. I would have told myself like lock in because you right, you always closer than you think you are. You don't even realize sometimes how blessed you are on your journey and your process because so many people around you aren't experiencing the same thing. And so it almost makes you question yourself or it makes you feel isolated. I remember I was torn. I ain't know nobody else torn. And I was
Mm.
torn like as an opening artist. And I was like 21, 22, and I didn't know any of my other friends that were on tour at the time.
Yeah.
Wasn't the best tour. It was the artist that I was touring with wasn't like the dopest, but he had a platform and he was willing to share with me, and it was covering costs and travel. And I was doing all of those things, but I didn't follow through and keep up with it because I didn't see it happening for all the other people around me. So they was like, oh, you touring with that guy? He's old, he's corny. Yeah, but
Oh
I'm
man.
touring.
Right. Right.
Y'all not. You feel me? And so a lot of times we let people and things get in our ear, and it's like, you know, someone said, I'm not gonna listen to the person that knows me the best or that I'm closest to. I'm gonna listen to the person that's closest to my dream. And
And then that leads to my next question. I was going to ask you, man. How do artists trust their instinct? Because, like you just said, the person that's closest to their dream is them, right?
yeah,
So, how do you trust your instinct when all of these other voices are trying to convince you to do otherwise?
You got to silence those other voices.
Mm.
That's the most important thing. You got to silence those other voices. Like those other voices, those other dreams, those other voices, those other dreams, those other ideas. Um, no matter how good or bad they are, you
Mm-hmm.
gotta silence them, man. You gotta listen to yourself and you gotta listen to God. Even when
Right.
you like when I'm making music and I'm in like artist mode, I ain't listening to the radio, I ain't listening to Spotify, I'm listening to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to me, either what I did or trying to listen to hear what else I want to do. And so a lot of times you're you're not crazy, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a dude named Shoelace. Shoelace. I wrote about it in my book.
Okay.
But he was in college and he never tied his shoes. Like he never ever ever tied his shoes.
Okay.
And he was in college football. And I remember watching the game, and the dude was like, "Yeah." They zoomed in. You know how they do? They zoom in on your shoes, and they say, "Yeah, look, he never ties his shoes." And the other announcer was like, "Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. That's insane." And the next announcer said, "Well, it's only crazy if it don't work." And the next play, he scored a touchdown.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody would have told him to tie his shoes, and maybe he had an Achilles rupture, or maybe he got an injury, or you just have to do what's best for you. And I can't really define arrogance
Mm-hmm.
or define the line of like arrogance or like confidence when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because to some people you look arrogant, to some people you're gonna look confident. But I think that you really have to listen to what's inside your heart. And you do need one or two really trusted people that can be sounding boards for you while you're pursuing this, to keep you level and to keep you balanced. You
For
do. You,
sure.
you gotta have it, right?
For
Like
sure.
you need that, because if you don't have that, then that's when you wild out. That's when you go too far. You know what I mean? And even if you go too far, you need someone to be like, nah, it's okay. Keep going. I got the flashlight over here. I got the net to grab you if you fall. But I think that's just something that comes with life. Like what's right and what's wrong is inside of you. And I think that you owe it to yourself to push yourself, your goals and your dreams to the limit, to push it as far as you can. You owe that to yourself. You know what I mean? Hopefully without self-destruct. And I think that's sometimes a telltale sign is if you destroying yourself and others for your idea, then maybe you went too far. But
Mm.
other than that, I mean, continue to push, man. Like you either gonna walk on water or you gonna swim. Like it ain't sink or swim. You could float.
Right. Right.
Or
There's another
or you know
option, huh?
what? You sink enough, you might learn how to build a boat or a bridge. But I think that you just have to be in the right heart and in the right mind, and that's different for every single person. But as long as you're not destroying yourself and destroying other people, I think that's a good telltale that you might be onto something cool.
No doubt. No doubt, man. You a Buffalo Bills fan this year?
Hey man, always, forever, no matter what. 3-0, won yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, all day.
No doubt. No doubt,
All
man.
day, man.
You,
Bills.
you know them 49ers undefeated so far too. So you know what I'm
I
saying?
see y'all, but y'all running back gotta stay healthy, man.
He
He
do
gotta
gotta
stay
stay
healthy
healthy,
this year.
man. He do gotta stay healthy, man. We're gonna
McCaffrey
figure
gotta
that
stay
out,
healthy,
man.
man.
He got a lot of miles, man. He got a lot of
He,
miles,
he
man.
do, man. He a cutlass. You know what I mean? Yeah. He a cutlass,
Thanks, man.
bro.
So tell me this, man. What's next for you after? No, no. You know what? What's the difference between the Creator's Guide to Getting Started and Whiskey for the Soul? Because you have another book called Whiskey for the Soul.
Yeah. So whiskey for the soul. It's funny, man. Like that was my first book, and I kind of I kind of wrote it. I guess that I wanted to pop my cherry for lack of better words, but I wanted to write it because I saw us going on the internet and grabbing quotes and grabbing ideas, and we would share them and we would repost them. And Whiskey for the Soul is funny because people say, like, how do those books go together? And I'll tell you how. Through this process, you get discouraged, it gets daunting, you get uninspired, you get uncreative, you get frustrated, you get busy. And Whiskey for the Soul was something that you could just grab and pick up. And it's just a bunch of motivational quotes and ideas and like things that I expounded upon, different thoughts and different theories and different things that you feel. And so you might go on Instagram and read a quote, and then you scroll, and the next thing you read is like super negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then you
yeah.
see something funny, and you're just doom scrolling. But Whiskey for the Soul is just that. It's a shot of whiskey. You know what I mean? It's something to either warm you or to jolt you or to calm the nerves. But it was like a proverb. It was like, to me, it was like just a book of proverbs, things that would keep you inspired. And so I wrote it for the same demographic. It's short form reading. Whiskey for
Okay.
the Soul is for creatives and entrepreneurs and business people who don't got time to sit down and read a book. They don't got time to sit down and read a thick 200-page book, but they need something to shake the edge off or to get the cobwebs off or to get jump started. And so that's what Whiskey for the Soul is. Whereas a creative guide to getting started is more practical. It's more about implementing. It has homework in it. There's charts and graphs in there. There's questions to answer. There's schedules to fill out.
So
It's not just to. It's not just a book to fluff and to motivate and inspire you. It's really a book to say, like, we got something to do, and we're gonna get it started, and we're gonna finish it. And Whiskey for the Soul is the book you're gonna pick up in the meantime, between time, when you don't feel like starting, when you don't feel like going, and it's gonna read something that'll inspire you or encourage you.
yeah, yeah.
So that's the difference between the two. You
That's
know.
what's up, man. It's practical when you think about it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it
Your
is, man.
explanation. It's just like when you think about it, you always straightforward, man. I appreciate your perspective. I can tell that when you speak about these topics, this isn't some garbage that you just heard. You know what I'm saying? You ain't just watch
Facts.
hella podcasts and just start spewing out stuff you heard on there, man. This is definitely from experience and authentic, man. Who are some of the people that you've worked with that people may know or people may be interested in knowing that you've gained insight from using your creative talents?
Man, I've been blessed to work with a lot of people. Big Ran, right? I mean, we sat and worked on projects. I would say like my wife, Mahogany Jones. I've spent a lot of time in the past few years with her, just working and pulling a lot out of her and her pulling so much out of me. Whether it's through pulling it out or just demanding more from me. So I would
Word.
say that. Man, there's so many people I've worked with, man. My boy Brayon, amazing writer and producer. I
Brayon
spent
Isaac.
many years working with him. Um, who else can I say, man? My family has recently, my cousin Lydia, man, she super motivates me a lot, man. Like, again, she's one person that's like, yeah, I need to start this business, but she holds down so much. She's like young and has become like the matriarch of our family.
Oh,
So just to
wow.
see that, at such a young age, and just to hold everyone and everything together and accountable. And even with the books and stuff, so you like, did you write today? Did you write? Did you? And so, that's really inspired me a lot in my children, man. Watching them and just developing has been really great. One of my artists that I work with, his name is E Hub. Again, watching him balance. He got 50 million skills, bro. Like, the boy engineer, he plays sax, he rap, he sing, he write. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like play drums, watching him do all of these different things and hone it in to still create and make records and stuff. My boy Demerit, you know, who he's working on some films. I'm getting ready to work with him now. It's really just been a lot of people that are close to me right now that I'm highlighting, man, and that I feel like are the ones that need to be talked about, and need to
So
be seen and need to be heard because a lot of times, like, you know, we could list the successful people, you know, the Flow Riders and the Pit Bulls and you know, the Selena Gomez's and the Noah Cyrus and you know, my guy Twink right now is making crazy, crazy music, producing crazy stuff. I'd rather talk about what Twink doing than some of the producers that I have worked with, you know,
yeah,
because I'm watching them in this moment, you know what I mean? Like in their prime right now, really begin to capitalize on their lives and to begin to roll these things out. And so that's kind of, you know, those are the ones that I'm excited about even more than, like I said, the Duckworths and the Shabuzis, and we know them, they eating, they doing their thing, man. You know, yeah, my boy John Chen, I just saw him take his artist on like his first world tour. You know, like my boy Killer B. Man, when I did a writing camp back in, I would say 2017, man, Killer B was there. And he had just come out to LA. He had just moved from Chicago. And he was just hungry. He was at the studio every day at the house, working, writing. And it's like, man, this kid is super talented. Uh, didn't get a bunch of placements at the time, but I mean, he did Texas Hold'em for Beyonce. He got the number one record in the world. You know what I'm saying? And so, again, that's just a story of like, man, oh, you done got muted on me. Oh, let me see.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Oh man,
But yeah, like,
I said you've been around a bunch of number ones though, man.
yeah, man. Thank God, bro. I
Man,
have, man. I
that's not easy to do, man. Not
yeah.
easy to do.
It ain't, you know.
You know what I learned today? That was crazy to me, man.
What's that?
That Snoop Dogg has never won a Grammy.
I know.
That's crazy to me, man.
You know, I don't think that Wayne don't got one either.
Wayne ain't got a Grammy neither.
And Nicki ain't got one either.
This is wild, man. The
It's a lot of,
Academy,
and
the
you know, that's the
Academy.
thing. Like, man, I just watched this interview from like a year ago with Candace Owen. She said you got a 0% chance of being the next LeBron James,
Man,
and it's like,
man, a
if you be
zero
honest
percent
about it, that you know, so many people, and when you think about like number ones and Grammys and stuff, there's so many great noteworthy artists that don't have Grammys.
Mm,
And that's what I mean. Like, there's these metrics, man,
yeah.
that exist, and it's kind of not fair because you got some people like Jay-Z got 21 Grammys,
Hmm.
or maybe no, maybe more than that now. But he'll tell you that Snoop's probably the more famous artist.
Oh yeah, ain't no more recognizable name in hip hop or rap than
You
Snoop.
hear what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and when you think about records like Drop It Like It's Hot, but then there was so many other politics that was swirling around his life when certain things happened that that's
Yeah,
possibly why he didn't obtain one. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so it's like even the movies he did, Snoop might have an Academy Award and not a Grammy.
yeah.
You feel
Wow,
me?
yeah.
Like that's kind of wild. You
That
know
is
what I
wild.
mean? But you know what? You know who do got a Grammy?
Who
Kobe
that?
Bryant.
Wow, wow. For a
And he
movie
has
or
an
something?
Oscar.
Huh?
Yeah, for his movie for basketball.
Wow,
You
wow.
know, and that's sometimes how you got to do it, man. You get into the right project. My company that I started, the 30s, they got
Yeah.
an Academy Award from the song "Started Riot" with Duckworth and Shabuzi.
Oh,
And some of my clients wasn't so happy. Like they didn't parade like, yeah, we got an Academy Award because they felt like the song what's that song? There was a song with Ray Shrimmer and Post Malone or something like that that kind of made that project so big.
uh-huh.
But it's like if you're a part of something that's amazing and successful, then you have to celebrate that. If you
For
played the
sure.
smallest role in that project, you know what I mean? Like, man, I did the lighting on that picture that won that thing. Like, that's a huge accomplishment. And one of like even in Whiskey of the Soul, one of the things I wrote is celebrate all your wins. No matter
Mhm.
how big or how small, like you deserve it to celebrate those wins because, like you said, there's so many people that aren't a part of things like that. And it's
Mhm.
like, man, we all know Snoop Dogg. Snoop is a household name.
Right.
You know what I mean?
A household name.
Multi-generational superstar.
Exactly.
And he doesn't have a Grammy Award.
Yeah, that's crazy that you said that, what you said about, people not wanting to be celebrating even in their small role, man. It just goes back to what you say, man. The smart people, the thing that it works for, they get with the system and fit into that system. You know what
Yep,
I'm
they
saying? And
yep,
sometimes fitting into that system is celebrating those wins for the team. So,
yep. And they fit in without conforming.
right.
Just hey man, take it and go. Like
Yeah.
I work with Curtis Blow, bro.
Yeah, same.
You
Remember,
feel me?
was it on the hip
Yeah.
hop?
The Holy Hip Hop joint, right? Yo, we got records with Kurt. We got Curtis. We on Curtis Blow project, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
People
Ain't
that
it?
like at one time that was like the most famous rapper in the world.
It was.
That was the Jay-Z of the 70s.
Right. Right. Right.
You know, and so it's like we won't celebrate something like that, but at
Yeah.
the time, maybe it didn't feel like it was as big as it was.
Mm.
But now in hindsight, when you quantify or qualify all of the things that you've been a part of, that's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even early on it was huge and it's gonna stick by your name forever. You know what I mean? Like forever and ever. And so I think that you gotta celebrate the wins, man. You know, Snoop said that, and I was like, man, we gotta get Snoop a Grammy, bro. Like,
Yeah, do it,
if
right?
he said that, it's like,
Hey,
yo, if I don't even know if you get him an honorary Grammy or just get him a gramophone.
I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah. Send him one. You know what I'm saying? Like a YouTube plaque or something, man. I don't know. Niggas need to take to the streets, man.
Yo, for real. Hey, put
Mhm.
drop it like it's hot in one of these movies and the soundtrack win an award or something, you know what I mean? Like, but I did see that online and I couldn't believe that, man. But then I could because there's so many people. You know what? Most artists don't have a number one on Billboard.
Right, right. That's what I
Most,
said, man. That's
most,
hard to do.
most. And
That's
I,
hard to do, Jack.
again, my boy Brown, man, he had three number ones his first year.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. Three number ones in his first year. But then I wonder if sometimes that's the hard part because now you want another one.
Hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? And so do you go after the number one or do you keep doing what you was doing that got you to the number one?
Hmm.
And I think that that's what a lot of creators wrestle with. You
Wow.
know?
Wow. Well, man, that's interesting. That's dope. And like I said, man, I know it's a lot of gems that people will be able to pull from, learn from, and apply to be successful and to get started. You know what I'm saying? So where can people find the book? There it is, right there in your hand. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We'll create a link for everybody to be able to go and find that easily. You got hard copies in store.
It's gonna be so the physical copy is gonna be dropping on September 24th, which is in a
Okay.
couple days. But the ebook is already out. It's on Kindle. It's right now. It's on Amazon exclusively.
Okay.
Until December actually, because I'm working on something with them. So they have the ebook exclusively until December. But the
Okay.
physical copies are going to be everywhere in Borders, Barnes and Nobles. It's going to be Ingram Spark, but you can also just go right to my website, thinkmansa.com, and you can actually pick up a copy of it and get it right away.
ThinkMensa.com. That's what's up, man. Well, the
Yes,
creator's
sir.
guide to getting started. It's available right now, chock full of game for any entrepreneur, any creative that has something going on. You need this book. You need this information. This is 20 plus years of activity, action, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Learning at the top of his game, at the top of the game.
Yes,
So,
sir.
everybody needs to go and get this book, get this information, and you need to do it now. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get started. Get started now. Don't wait till tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Dre, I
Facts.
appreciate you tapping in with me, man. I appreciate you chopping it up, man, giving us the game, giving us the time, man. I can't wait to link up with you, man. I appreciate you always staying tapped in with me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you the other day, every time I talk to you, man, you've leveled up, man, and you're doing better than the last time I talked to you, man. So, shoot, man, I expect huge things, man, with all the projects you got coming, man. Wish
For
you much
sure, bro.
success,
I
bro.
appreciate you, man, having me, man. Thank you so much. I love doing this, chopping it up, man.
For sure.